profitability. Return on investment can be affected by various factors like cost of reagents and supplies, and also amount of revenue generated after commercialization. There's one thing we must bear in mind. The revenue generated after launching the product in the market can differ largely in the technology holder compared to technology receiver. So you need to calculate. Market is very important. Another thing is affordable and sustainable finance, which actually is one of the barriers for low middle income country when conduct technology transfer. Adequate financing is needed to maximize the spillover effect from direct investment in strengthening technology transfer. Access information. When you build this technology transfer relationship, you need to know each other. The technology holders need to know who want to receive technology, and technology receivers who have the best technology which suit their situation. You need to know the regulations in the receiving countries, what is the market situations, and also what are the capacity, their patent system. All this information are very important. So what we say, access to information could be considered as an important drive in the ecosystem. Now we talk about ecosystem for technology partnerships. This is very much focused on GMP consideration. So what we say, ecosystem for technology partnership centers around the technology holder, receiver, and the transfer itself. We said that the information, seeking information is very important because you need to build common ground and trust by transparent communication, by know each other. So you need to know what are the GMP and quality system of both sides, like risk management system, documentation, change control, all this very much mentioned, required in GMP must have good intelligence on those elements. You need to know HR, know how their capacities. Can they receive the technology and implement this transfer in the way what technology holder expect? And also, what are the government? How about their managerial procedures? What about their project management capacities? Of course, we mentioned the business and the legal aspect. Last but not least, geographic culture. Most of the time, people forget to mention it. Sometimes they will delay the technology transfer. So all these communications, the trust is very important. Before you start technology transfer, you need to know each other. Get a total system view and to know the similarity, difference between the holder and the receiver. Of course, during the transfers, before transfers, you need to have develop a formal agreement and the transfer protocols and form a transfer effective project team. So I mentioned the WHO guideline. The first version was published in 2011. And during the COVID, since the WHO saw the member state are eagerly seek guidance on technology transfer. There are so many initiatives on technology transfer, especially linked to the COVID-19 vaccines. So LPA unit, my unit takes the lead and to work with experts, update this guideline. This updated version was adopted this year by our expert group, ECSPP. A new version will be published in the first quarter of next year after our EB. So in this guideline, so they really focus on the principles to enable transfers to meet current GMP and regulatory expectations, such as you need to do the comprehensive gap analysis to determine feasibility. This includes analysis on engineering, business, quality, regulatory, supply, and legal aspects. You need to understand the similar capacities between the technology holder, or we say sending unit, and the receiving unit. So on the facility, equipment, documentation, all these elements required in the GMP compliance. And also, I mentioned the difference when you found difference. So all this you need to have very well documented with impact and risk. What does the impact this difference can trigger? And control strategies to overcome the difference. So sometimes you want to have ideal situation. So the sending unit and receiving unit have a comparable capacity, but in the real life, not all the way like that. But we still have a way to overcome the difference by training, by hand-on training, and all this. Partnership is very important. Why partnership is important? Because they help you to overcome the difference as well when there is. So a transfer requires a planned approach by trained, qualified personnel. So working within a quality system, you are mentioning a quality system with appropriate documentation and data covering all the aspects of a development, production, and quality controls. And also, we need to consider the stage of a vaccine life cycle and regulatory requirements. So why important the life cycle? Because the rig of the level applied in the technology transfer should be commensurate with the vaccine life cycle phase. So the difficulty is the complexity is not the same if your technology transfer occurs in the fill finish phase compared into the drug substance production phase, right? So you must have a commensurate effort in conduct technology transfer. In the guidelines, the updated guidelines, this mentioned 4 phases for the transfer. Phase 1, project initiation. By this phase, you need to determine the need and the feasibilities by gap analysis, right? So found is feasible or not, what are the difference? Then you go to project planning phase, phase 2. This is the phase you need to form effective multidisciplinary team from 2 sides, sending unit and receiving unit. I don't know how many technology transfer do that. Actually, it's very important. In this multidisciplinary team, you need to have technical people, QA, QC. You need to have a business people, and you need to have a project management, and also need somebody know a little bit of patent, all the things, and the legal issues, regulation issues. Then you need to perform a risk assessment. This is very important risk assessment. What are the risks? Especially when there's difference after gap analysis from 2 sides on the capacity, or on the facility, or on the equipment. So what are the risks? And then you need to have a risk mitigation plan, right? After that, so you need to develop transfer document. We call the transfer protocol, technology transfer protocol. This is very important, and also develop a control strategy. We will mention a little bit why control strategy is so important. Because control strategy can help you to produce the quality ensured products in the end. So control strategy must be patient-centric and also linked to GMP consideration and regulatory expectation, with a focus on the production. Like when you say patient-centric control strategy, you want to have a quality, safety, and effective vaccine if we're talking about vaccine production, right? So need to understand, normally we say quality by design. So this you need to use. You need to define a lot of factors, like normally we say quality critical, normally what we attributes, critical process parameters, material attributes. All this you need to think about and also understand what these attributes can contribute to the endpoint. Then we go to the phase 3, project transfer implementation. So we need to evaluate the generated data from the transfer and assess comparability of those data with that from the holding technology holders. And we can implement change control, but any change must be comply with regulatory requirements. Then you go to the next phase, is project review and close out. So this is a very important phase, actually. You need to review the progress during implementation. And you also need to think about what does a new action need to take. For instance, do we need to have a continuing stability studies? Do we need to include new suppliers in the quality management systems? You need to prepare technology report. And very important, document and identify. Document also identifies risk, failures, and the CAPAs in the report. So this data integrity is very important. During our work, when our unit go to the manufacturer to do this assessment, one big issue is data integrity. How do you keep your document to align the requirements of the GMP systematically? So very important parts. So we talk about technology transfer protocol is very important. This protocol include project goal. So set the goal. What are the objectives of this technology transfer? What do you want to achieve? And what is the scope? Is just fill finish or is from beginning, right? If you normally we say it's very complex technology transfer should from A and Z, including all the elements. And also technology transfer project team, we say we need to build up this project team. Sometimes not only including the technology holders and the receivers, sometimes we also need including the marketing authorization holders in the project team, and also identify, write it down what are responsibilities for each team members, so make them accountable. And also we need to know what's our step of technology transfer. Each step include what activities. All this need to be identified during the phase to develop technology transfer product. So the timelines, the milestones, and also it could include reference to completed or required risk assessment and gap analysis. It also can include reference to other documents like master validation plan, equipment qualification, change control strategies. So all this you can include in this transfer protocol, and that will be very helpful. The good preparation is a key for a successful result, right? So sometimes additional experiment is needed to the technology receiver, especially when you use